What's going on, you guys? My name is Hartley and welcome back to another video. In this one, I want to give you an update on my Bitcoin miners. Now, I invested a bunch of money several months ago and I made a few videos about setting up my miners and kind of building them and how I was doing everything, but I haven't made a video in a little while, so now I want to give you kind of the 6-month update to show you how they're set up, how much money we're making. I also want to share with you 3 things that I wish I knew before I got started. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so I currently have 2 different miners, and the first one I keep down here in my basement. Here is what it looks like. It is basically a high-powered computer, and on the top here, I've got 2 graphics cards. These are RTX 3080 Ti graphics cards, and underneath here is a motherboard, a power supply, and basically everything to run the computer. And then I have it hooked up to my TV here, and you can see we're just running nice hash. I've got my 2 graphics cards right here. They're both at 100% load, and this pretty much just runs 24/7, mining for whatever cryptocurrency is most profitable at the time, and then it converts it into Bitcoin and drops it right into my wallet. Now, my second Bitcoin miner here, I keep it in the garage because it's a lot louder and it produces a lot of heat. I have it turned off right now just for recording this video, but here's what it looks like. So this is the unit. It is the Bitmain Antminer S19J Pro 100 terahash, and it is a purpose-built Bitcoin mining machine. So this is what you'll see in all of the big warehouses or the big mining operations. It does take a little bit more effort to kind of run this and get it up and going. You need a lot more ventilation, a lot more space, and also a lot more power. You also have to be able to connect Ethernet directly to it. So it takes a lot more to kind of basically get up and running. But once you have it up and running, it's pretty much hands off. All you have to do is give it a little bit of power. The unit starts up, it automatically connects to the internet, and then I can run everything from my computer. Okay, so now that you've seen what the 2 miners look like and how they operate, let's start talking about how much money they make and how much they cost me. And there is a bit of a difference with regards to how much they cost. The kind of computer miner that you saw first there was definitely cheaper. In total, I spent $5,887 putting that machine together, and some of the parts that I used in that machine are probably a little bit cheaper now that the microchip shortage has sort of been dealt with and there's less of a demand on these graphics cards. So I may have paid a little bit high for these graphics cards, but altogether paid $5,887 for an extremely high-powered computer. Now, the Bitcoin miner that I showed you second there, the ASIC miner, the S19J Pro, paid a lot more money for that. It was $13,000 up front, and the total came to about $13,500 by the time I got everything together. So my total on this was $19,460 to get everything up and running all together and operating. Now, when it comes to electricity, it's a little bit more complicated because I'm running these miners out of my house. So what I have done is I've taken 3 of my electrical bills from before I started mining, and I've taken an average of those 3 bills, and that average came out to $177 per month in electricity that my house was using. So once I started mining using both of those miners, I subtracted the $177 from my electricity bill, and that gave me the remaining amount that my miners were using. And so in the month of January, my total bill was $509. Deduct the $177, it means that my miners were costing me about $333 in the month of January. You can also see that for February, March, April, May, and June. I don't have July's numbers yet because it's actually like half of July and half of August, so I should be getting that bill in the next kind of few weeks here. But so far this year, I've paid just over $1,900 in electricity to run both of those Bitcoin miners. Alright, now when it comes down to looking at this entire investment as a whole, the first thing that we have to start with is my total investment up front, and that came out to $19,460 between my 2 crypto miners. After that, we have to look at how much money I have currently made, and so far, based on my NiceHash dashboard, we've generated $3,682 Canadian worth of Bitcoin at today's value. When we subtract our electricity cost of $1,933, we can see that we've generated a profit of about $1,750, or an ROI of about 8.99% in just 6 months, Hopefully that means that we're going to be around that 18 to 20% return as long as Bitcoin stays at these levels. Now, a couple of things to think about here is number one, if the price of Bitcoin goes up, well, my holdings go up as well as the earnings for every day that I am mining. So that would be a very good case scenario. I have also locked in my electricity for 3 years, so I don't really have to worry about my rates changing, which is really, really nice. And the value or the hardness, the difficulty that it takes to mine Bitcoin, it's probably going to get more difficult over time as new miners come online. So that is something that I have to consider over time. It is slowly going to dwindle, and the amount of Bitcoin that I'm earning each day is slowly going to reduce if I just maintain the same ability of my miners. Now, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're interested in the space and you're maybe considering doing this yourself. And I have a couple of words of advice for you, and I want to share some lessons and some things that I wish I knew before I got started that I ended up having to learn the hard way, starting with the service fees and the distribution charges for your electricity. You need to make sure that you understand how your electricity bill works, because I thought I was extremely smart locking in a 3-year fixed electricity rate at a really, really low rate. However, I didn't realize that my service fees would increase with the amount of electricity that I was using, and therefore I didn't budget for it. So make sure that you're budgeting for all the additional electrical fees that you're going to have to pay just because you're using more electricity. That's definitely something to keep in mind. The next thing that you need to keep in mind here is the ventilation and the heat. My ASIC miner produces a lot of noise, it needs a lot of airflow, and it produces a lot of heat. So if you live in a very hot climate, you could be paying a whole lot of money to either cool down the air or to provide adequate airflow using fans. And those fans draw more and more electricity, which is going to be something that you're going to have to pay for. So you got to make sure that you have ventilation figured out, especially if you're going with ASIC miners. It is immensely crucial so that you don't just burn out your miner. And the last thing that I wish I knew about before I got started was the cleaning. I do have to clean the graphics cards and the motherboard of my computer every now and then, usually about every 4 or 5 months. I'm gonna have to clean it, take it apart, remove all the dust, just make sure that everything is clean and operational. There's no dust building up in any of the crevices, nothing's overheating. You just got to make sure that it's well maintained. It doesn't take much work, but for instance, I had to go out and buy a little vacuum with a thing on the end and some gloves and some new paste for the CPU chips. So there's a couple of different things that you got to do just to maintain these units. It's very low work, but there is a little bit of work that you have to do to maintain these units. Alright, now that's it from me. I hope you got a little bit of value out of this video, and if you're interested in some free money, there's a link down below that will send you to Newton, and if you create an account with them and deposit $100, they will give you a free $25. So it's literally like a 25% ROI on your money as soon as you get started. It's one of the best investments you can make. I highly recommend it. I use Newton for all of my trading, all of my investing, and it is linked down below. I highly recommend it. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that that's the platform that I personally use. So definitely check it out. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to help you out. If you have any questions, if you need some recommendations, if you're curious about any of the numbers, let me know. I'm here to support you. Thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. Thank you for watching till the end, and we'll see you in the next video. Good luck trading, good luck investing, good luck mining, and we'll talk to you soon.